uploaded a video just going over the struggles I've been having with YouTube, just with, finding the consistency, losing the motivation, you know. And like, I don't want to like lose that much motivation in doing it because I'm so passionate in the stuff I do. Ironically, this white ladybug just fell like on my arm as I got into my car. And I looked up what that meant. It's just trying to push you forward, keeping like starting fresh, a clean slate, you know, just trying to, stay focused on what's going on. Um, you know, there's been a lot of chatter, I guess you can say, with the World Cup going on, you know. I mean, nothing in my personal life, bro, is affecting me. Like, I'm pretty happy with it. My work life is pretty good, I would say. It's just this hobby I have of mine, like the YouTube hobby I have of mine right now, is kind of putting me in a pickle, bro. To let me know if I should continue doing this shit and if it's really worth my time getting behind the camera, just giving like my perspective on things I see around the world of football with Chelsea, the World Cup, other stuff too. I created a second channel that I haven't really got started on yet because you know, I haven't really found the motivation to want to do it. You feel me? But if I'm gonna continue doing this YouTube thing, I just need to be more consistent and like not give up on it. I mean, my YouTube, you know, as of right now, it's a side thing. It's a hobby I do. It's not really anything that I'm making money off of. So it's not something that I should really be too annoyed with or too upset with. But with how I want my channel to grow and how I feel like I can talk about these things and actually, make an impact. What's going on, bro? How you doing? Um, I don't want to lose that motivation of doing this channel like ever. But I just want to hear from people that have been watching me that like know like the kind of content I do, like how can I improve my channel going forward to where, you know, people aren't afraid to engage, people aren't afraid to tell me if I'm wrong or whatever, I'm not an intimidating person. I'm actually really nice. But it's like, I guess my facial expressions at times could put people off. And that's something that I feel like I need to work on if I'm going to be doing something like this. What's going on? How you doing, bro? How are you both doing today? Um, you know, I'm going to talk about Granit Xhaka first off in this video, or in this stream actually. So Chelsea have submitted an £8 million bid for Xhaka, and it's such a disrespectful offer, bro. Such a disrespect. Where am I? I am in the parking lot in my where I live at in my car because I wanted to get out of the house for a second. I've pretty much been inside all day. So Granit Xhaka, £8 million bid rejected, and it's just such a disrespectful offer. I mean, for a guy that's honestly enhanced his career since leaving Arsenal and going to Bayer Leverkusen, then coming back to the Premier League and guiding Sunderland of all teams, a team that was promoted from the Championship up to the Premier League, gets into a European spot. It's going to be pretty obvious why. Sunderland don't want to sell. They won't entertain any offers. But if Chelsea are serious about getting somebody like this and Granit Xhaka pushes for the move, Chelsea need to come into the region of 15 to 20 million. I don't want to see 10 million because then you're not doing anything better by offering 2 million more. I don't care that he's 33 years old. I don't care that people think he's washed or whatever. He isn't washed. He's the kind of player that you want to be able to bring into this squad that desperately needs experience, bro. That desperately needs experience. I mean, you're talking about a Chelsea team that last season finished 10th. I mean, you're talking about a Chelsea team that found it very difficult to control games. You're talking about a Chelsea team that, you know, found it very difficult to not concede goals. They can only look at themselves, and the ownership can only look at themselves right now as the reasons why they finished 10th. And the fact that Arsenal won the Premier League last season is a big indicator on why stuff needs to change at the club. Now we're seeing links with Maxime Lacroix. You know, hopefully he gets signed after the World Cup. That looks like it's going to be done. But Granit Xhaka would be one of the shrewdest signings Chelsea could make in this transfer window. They need to get it done. I don't want a situation where it's another Mike Mignon situation where you can't pay 5 million more to get the French #1 goalkeeper, right? You're gonna get the talisman of not just Bayer Leverkusen, but of Sunderland as well, the captain of Switzerland in your ranks, in your dressing room, a guy that's gonna be able to bring these young players together and actually get them to play together and get them to actually understand what the task is in the Premier League. With no Europe, Chelsea have to be able to be consistent on a 38 game season. What's going on, Andreas? How you doing, bro? But it's like I've said, Chelsea better not screw this up. They better not screw this up, bro. What's going on? How you guys doing? I appreciate you guys saying what's up. But I mean, like they can't fumble this. It's going to be one of those times where this is the only transfer window, in my opinion, now, and they've already had 8 of them, that this ownership has to get it right. If you don't get it right, like Eunice always says, bro, we have the receipts, bro. We're clocking everything. We know what reporters said what reporters are saying players are going to come to the club or whatever. They can't allow a deal for Granit Xhaka for a good 20 million for Granit Xhaka would be, I'd rip your arm off for that. Now, is he the kind of midfield player that Chelsea should realistically be going for? Some would say yes, and some would say no. I'm right in the middle. I don't mind him coming to the club and being one of the leaders of the club, but you don't build your team around him. This is something that if Chelsea get this deal done, I'll feel a lot better going forward that if you're able to keep an Enzo Fernandez, which I still think is 50-50, you insert Granit Xhaka into that midfield setup, Caicedo, Enzo, and Xhaka, I would be there for it. But it's still 50-50 in my opinion whether or not Enzo leaves. You know, we keep seeing the same reports. We keep seeing the same shit. Real Madrid are going to come in. He's pushing for a move away. Chelsea don't want to sell. Xabi Alonso, maybe he wants to keep him. We're not going to know anything until after the World Cup, bro. We just aren't. So in my head, it's still a 50-50 shot. He says, until I see him actually push for that move, hold up that Real Madrid shirt, and sign the contract, it's still 50-50. That's just me. A few other things here that we need to talk about when it comes to Granit Xhaka. We have to understand that it's going to be if he signs, he doesn't care about the contract. He doesn't care about like I feel like if a player with this manager, like Malo Gusto, wants to reunite with Enzo Maresca at Man City, you do everything you can to get that deal done. Chelsea should do everything they can to help out Malo Gusto, get him off the wage structure, get your transfer fee in for him, use some of that money to pay Sunderland what they want. Sunderland, at the end of the day, are in a stronger negotiating position just in terms of his contract, right? But typically when a player is in the last 2 years of his contract, it goes for any sport. You want to try to get some type of value for him back. Whether it's the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NFL, football, soccer, whatever people want to call this sport, you want to sell before they become a free agent to where you don't get any kind of money for them. And then all clubs have to do is just sign a signing on fee plus the wages. That's it. So do I think Granit Xhaka is going to ultimately come to Chelsea? I think when push comes to shove and they see that he desperately wants to rejoin Alonso at the club, I think you're going to see him with the number 34 jersey at Stamford Bridge. I think that's what's going to ultimately happen. You know, going into the World Cup, Canada beat South Africa in the 92nd minute, 1-0. People were saying it was a screamer of a goal. I mean, it was a good goal, but it wasn't a screamer. It wasn't in the top corner, but the impact, the emotion, what it means, the nation of Canada to get to the round of 16 to where now it looks like they're going to be playing the winner of the Netherlands or Morocco. And that's another tie that, could go either way. I think the Dutch do beat them. Honestly, if this was later on in the tournament, it's still tough. Morocco probably. If this was in like the quarterfinals, Morocco would probably be my pick. But round of 32, I think the Dutch will actually beat them in that game. I think the impact that this World Cup has had, honestly. I mean, the World Cup, honestly, a lot of people thought it would be a failure. A lot of people at first weren't the biggest fan of it because of the hydration breaks, the ads, and all that stuff. But I'll be real. I mean, this World Cup has been nothing but drama. You got the Democratic Republic of Congo playing England in the next round. And I've said this, I think England are in a world of trouble, bro. I think they're in a world of trouble. Even if they get past Congo, I think whoever comes out of that Mexico and Ecuador tie is going to beat England in the round of 16. I don't think England passed the round of 16. I think that they're getting fortunate to get these wins. I think they're fortunate enough that they have a player like Harry Kane in their ranks and Jude Bellingham. But outside of that, I just don't see a world where England get past the round of 16 right now. And then questions will be asked. Is Thomas Tuchel the right man for their job? Gareth Southgate got to a semifinal in 2018 with a roster that wasn't as good as the one they have now. Should Cole Palmer have actually been in the England squad? Should Phil Foden have actually been there? Did you push Reece James a little too much in this tournament, playing him at right back rather than playing him as a six? Like, these are the things that the English media are going to concoct, and I don't think it's fair to a Thomas Tuchel, but you need to start asking questions to these players, right? Why is Noni Madueke in this squad? Because he's a Premier League champion. He did jack shit for Arsenal. Elliot Anderson, a guy that just got a move for 121 million. Now, is that his fault that he's worth that? No. Forest drove up the price exponentially to get the money that they wanted for him. But at the end of the day, Elliot Anderson is not worth 121 million pounds, bro. He just isn't. And when I was watching that game yesterday, too many mistakes from him. And he's going to a Man City squad that hardly makes mistakes in midfield. Don't know how it's going to work out. And he's going to have to justify that fee. It's unfair to him, but he's going to have to justify it. What's going on, Johnson? How you doing, bro? But again, I just don't see a world where England get past the round of 16. And I think another game that we got to talk about here, right, is Mexico versus Ecuador. I think there's a lot of Mexican fans out there that think they're just going to absolutely destroy Ecuador. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mexico is in for a rude awakening, bro. And I'm not saying this because I'm American. Like, I love my Mexican people, bro. A lot of my friends are Mexican, honestly. Like, I don't, I just don't see why a lot of Mexican fans are saying that they're going to wipe the floor with Ecuador. I don't think that's going to happen. I really, really don't. I think Mexico's in for a rude awakening. I think Mexico, to be honest with you, are going to lose to Ecuador in the round of 32. And the continuous chant is going to keep going. I don't know. I know the term in Spanish, but I don't know how to really say it. Say it in English. They can't get to that fifth game. They never will. With the way that Mexico plays, with the way that Ecuador plays, I think because Ecuador like to have high possession now and they like to create chances, and they also look strong defensively, and they have Moises Caicedo. Like, honestly, I think Mexico doesn't have a player of the caliber of Moises Caicedo in midfield for me. And I think the difference in that game is going to be the midfield battle. I think Ecuador's midfield is going to be dominating that game more often than people think, even though it's going to be played in Mexico. I still think that Ecuador will find a way to overcome the onslaught that will be coming from Mexico, particularly in the second half, because I think the occasion is going to be a lot for Mexico to begin with. There's a lot more pressure on Mexico to win that game than there is Ecuador. Ecuador, all they have to do is show up and play well. Mexico actually have to go out there and put on a performance for the ages to get to the round of 16. And even if they get to the round of 16, right? Say they play England. Now, I would probably pick Mexico in that game if they beat Ecuador, because I just don't think England are going to have enough, honestly, especially if they have to play at the Azteca. They are not going to allow England out of that winners. They will absolutely, I think they would actually obliterate England in that game. But I think the tougher game for Mexico is going to be Ecuador, and I think Ecuador will beat Mexico in the round 32. That's just me. You guys can drop your opinions on that. You guys can probably say I'm crazy. Like, it doesn't really matter. My opinion is I think Ecuador beat Mexico in the round of 32. We get over to the United States versus Bosnia. I think that game, honestly, is a bit tricky for the U.S. because if the U.S. cannot figure out their set piece routines in terms of the defensive side, I think they're going to have a torrid time, right? I think they absolutely will. What the U.S., in my opinion, needs to do in this game is they're going to have a lot more of the ball. Bosnia, in my opinion, is going to sit back in that low block. I think the U.S. functions better if the game is open, if the game is more fluid and not broken up into segments, right? What do I mean by segments? I mean the plays being broken up, fouls, slowing down the game, taking a while to throw the ball in, goal kicks, corner kicks, the hydration breaks, right? The U.S. need to be playing against a team, in my opinion, that's a little bit more free-flowing to where they can hit them on the counter. I still think the U.S. is better on the counterattack, right? But if they beat Bosnia, they got Belgium waiting for them. The winner of Belgium and Senegal will be playing the U.S. in the round of 16. For my money, Belgium should beat Senegal, but I can give you a reason why Senegal could beat Belgium. Now, defensively, Senegal don't look that great. If you take a look at the game against Norway, they looked atrocious, horrible. Belgium in my opinion, Belgium don't have a better attacking line than Norway, but I would say their midfield is better. And I think the problem that Senegal will be facing against Belgium is if they don't control the game in midfield, I think players like Kevin De Bruyne, Yuri Tielemans are going to be able to pick their passes, pick them apart, and you're going to see chances created up the ass, right? It took Belgium till the fifth game to score 5 goals against a New Zealand side that realistically, if they win their first game against Iran, I think. Was it Iran? Yeah. Iran. Then you're probably seeing them in the round of 32 outside of who was it? Egypt, Iran, New Zealand, and Belgium. I mean, only Belgium and Egypt advanced. So, I mean, they probably still wouldn't have it advanced. But then there's this whole thing about match fixing between Iran and Egypt. Did did Algeria have a part in like their match fixing against Austria? I mean, you're gonna be hearing a lot of stuff about that over the past next 2 days, but I don't think anything weird's happened. I just think that a lot of the teams were trying to figure out ways to get into the knockout side of the tournament in the way that they could. But match fixing, the closest thing I've seen to match fixing was the 2002 World Cup. I don't think there's any kind of match fixing. I just think teams are switching off, honestly. I think teams are switching off. I think teams are actually falling asleep on set pieces a lot more. Maybe it's because of the mental fatigue. Maybe it's because of, like the tactics on the field don't match exactly what the players are looking for. But again, you're looking at a situation where you got teams that have never made the knockout rounds in 9 African teams in the round of 32. That's exceptional. 9 out of 32. That's almost 25% of the field. All right, I'm back. My phone low key overheated in this car, but I won't be on here too much longer. I just want to say 9 of the 32 teams left in this tournament are African, and it's great to see it. It's very, 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 very nice to see that. I mean, over 25% of the field is African, which like it begs you the question: could another African team make the semifinals? I don't think this time around, but it just shows me that the African teams are getting better, and that one day we will see an African World Cup winner. I really, really do. I really think at some point in these next 2 or 3 editions of the World Cup, an African team will be hoisting that gold trophy. So, yeah. But I'm going to get out of here. My phone's kind of overheating a little bit, so I don't want it to blow up on me. So, I'm Jason. No filter Chels. Drop a like, comment, sub. Like I said earlier on, man, like, there's a lack of motivation for me to get on these like streams and stuff, but I'm gonna try to keep my head on straight with it and just keep on trying to do the best I can. So yeah, I'm out here.